Our very own Rebecca Adams joins us on the line. Rebecca, we know he's had a really tough ride with injury over the last couple of years. I think it's 5 tournaments since 2023's Australian Open. But the French Open, they could have done him a favour, surely, and handed him an easier match than the fourth seed, Alexander Zverev.
Yes, you'd have thought so, wouldn't you, Isaac? Alexander Zverev actually said before the match that he thought it was a joke when he learned that his first round opponent would be Nadal because the seeded players avoid having to play other seeds until the third round of a Grand Slam. So to see those two big names in a first round match just doesn't happen. But because, like you said, Nadal has had all these injuries. He's fallen way, way down the world rankings. He's now 275 in the world. But he returned to competition earlier this year with a protected ranking of 9. He used that to enter the French Open, but he didn't get that seeding, which left him in danger of drawing a big-time player, and that's exactly what happened.
So what do we think is next for him?
Well, we've talked about this being his final Roland Garros, and his entire career has been a battle against his body. And it's hardly surprising, given not only the demands of the tour, but how he pushes himself in practice, that he said he expects to retire this year. If you watch him in training, he plays every ball as if it's match point at a Grand Slam. And I have never, ever seen a player train with such intensity as he does. And like we heard in the commentary earlier, he turns 38 in a few days' time. He's recently become a father as well. So priorities change, of course. Yesterday, if you watch that match, you will have seen women's world number one, Iga Swiatek, sitting in those stands watching the match, as well as men's world number one and Nadal's great rival, of course, Novak Djokovic, alongside the pretender to Nadal's crown, Carlos Alcaraz. So clearly that trio thought that they were witnessing history in action, the great champion's final appearance at the event he's dominated. But saying that, there was no farewell ceremony after his match, which is what we would have expected. And that's because Nadal actually told the tournament organisers that he wasn't ruling out a return to the Paris Clay next year. So you never know.
You really do never know. But if this is the final time that we see him at the French Open, you've interviewed him on a few occasions. Just speak about his sort of impact in tennis.
Well, Isaac, he's one of the most personable players on the tour. He's very genuine, very down to earth, and he's very generous with his time as well. You'll often see these players being rushed in and out of interviews, but with Nadal, you feel as if he's genuinely happy to be there and happy to chat. And the younger players really look up to him as well. I mean, Carlos Alcaraz and Iga Swiatek, watching his match yesterday, they've spoken at length about how they grew up being inspired by Nadal, and especially his exploits on clay. So clearly he has had an impact on not only his contemporaries, but also on the younger generations as well. But he's not done yet. He said he'll skip Wimbledon at the start of July to focus on the Olympics, which are just a couple of weeks after that. And of course, the Olympic tennis tournament takes place back in Roland Garros. So could there be one final victory for Nadal on the Paris clay?
Yeah, I'm sure it would be fantastic if we were able to see him on the Paris clay. It's great speaking to you, Rebecca, about Nadal, as Rebecca Adams, our very own reporter, joining us on the programme. What a career Nadal has had.